Hey guys, welcome back to Walden's World. So this is Mookie's four-wheeler, and did get it running, got the carb set and everything right. Don't stay running, so we got an issue. On this, I actually had to put my hand behind the carburetor to get it pulling fuel. That leads me to believe we got a compression issue. And I'll tell you a little story about compression. I hired this guy from my shop. It's been 10 years ago or 8 years ago. Let me clear this out. So hired him, and he told me he was an old Harley Davidson mechanic and stuff like that. And so he worked for me for about 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, man, he caused me a lot of problems. To do a compression test right, there's a couple of things you got to do. Number one is, of course, start the four-wheeler and get in the right spark plug, make sure it's tight. Number two, you have to pull in the thumb throttle. The reason is because that is going to pull that up and let air in. If you don't do that, you're already restricted air and you're not getting the correct reading. So let me go ahead and do this right quick. The guy's name rhymed with dumb fuck, and it started with a B. So you can figure it out. Some people call them deers or whatever like that, but we called them, anyway. So I hired him. Actually, I'll tell you a story too. I went to the racetrack last year. One of the customers that had brought a bike in and went through Buck, he didn't clean the carburetor. The guy took it anyway. He didn't call back and complain, but he did see me at the track and complain there. And I told him, dude, we stand behind the work at the shop back then. So that was on him. And I said, had you complained, we could have got rid of him earlier and wouldn't have had the problems we did. He also tried to steal somebody's unit. Crazy deal. Ended up being somebody we knew. So let's go ahead and we'll turn this on. We're going to pull the throttle all the way back and we're going to start it. I can't do this while I'm on the phone. Well, maybe I can. Let's see what we get here. Let's see if we can get this thing situated. Is it going to zoom in? All right, so y'all ready? We've got the throttle all the way down, and we're going to go ahead and start it. And I'm going to let it hit for about 10 seconds. Okay, so we hit 60 pounds of compression. And I'll tell you, on most units, if it's under 100, it's time to rebuild it. So this thing's not pulling any fuel. It's not got enough compression, enough rings there to do so. So we'll get a hold of him and get him to order that stuff, and I'll show him how to put it on, and we'll get it taken care of. But you need to order that, and we'll do a top end kit on this when it comes in. But anyway, y'all like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Oh yeah, something else Buck told me is he said, I said, well, what? He did a compression test on a four-wheeler, and this was about 4 days before I finally fired him. I said, well, what was the compression on the four-wheeler? He said, oh, it'd been holding 90 for 3 minutes. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, it's been holding 90 for 3 minutes. I'm like, Buck, there's a pressure release holds there. I was like, your cylinder's got piston. He was working on his own Harley Davidson. I'm like, even if you had it at top dead center on a 4-stroke, you still have rings that would leak off. I was like, you don't know how to do compression. And it was at 90. So I went up and pulled the throttle. Guess what? It went up to 110. So we went from having to rebuild a motor to not having to rebuild a motor. And dumb fuck Buck really messed me up. So be careful who you hire. He got me. The whole Harley mechanic thing didn't take but 2 weeks. The problem was I had a pipeline of stuff to work, so I literally had parts on order. So a lot of the stuff all he had to assemble, and Monkey could have done a lot of it. But yeah, got me. And then Richard at the racetrack, he come in and complained, and then he called one lady, and he actually told her that she needed to come up right now, get her four-wheeler, pay his bill and my bill, or he was keeping her four-wheeler. And it just so happened this particular lady, her kids grew up with my kids, and she was actually my neighbor, so she called my personal phone number and got a hold of me, and that was Buck's last day. And I told her we could actually prosecute him if she wanted to go through it. We could set him up or whatever and get the police involved, because I was like, dude, that's crazy. Buck, you dumb fuck. Oh man. Anyway, we're out of here. Y'all have a good day. Mookie, we need a kit.